Hello again, everybody. I'm Robert Romano. This is part 2 of Chapter 7, Money Matters. It's the second video. First part of the series, we talked about how licensors are paid by the licensees through guarantees, royalties, and advances. And we're just going to expand on that a little bit in this video. This will be a shorter video, but we're just going to expand on it a little bit. All right, some factors affecting royalties. We talked about royalties, right? Royalty percentages, how they're calculated. Some of the factors, one of the major factors that affect royalties is the law of supply and demand. Right, we all know what the law of supply and demand is from our economics classes. You know, if demand is up and supply is up, you know, all that stuff. If demand is high, supply is high, the prices go down. If demand is high, supply is low, prices go up. That kind of stuff. All right, so when there's a heavy demand for a product, or a license. Some typical examples are the Star Wars series, Disney, Marvel superheroes. I mean, these are the book examples that the book uses. So when there's a high demand, the royalties are going to go up. All right, the NFL is a perfect example. The National Football League, Major League Baseball. There's a high demand for those items. So because there's a high demand, the royalty fees are going to go up. It just makes sense. Also, the second factor that affects royalties is distribution. All right, so we have the law of supply and demand as number one. The second one is distribution. Royalty rates are usually lower, you know, we have 5 to 7%, maybe 8%, if a licensee sells to mass merchants. Okay, so if your distribution chain is to mass merchandise places, then the royalty rate is going to be lower. All right, so it makes sense then that royalty rates are higher if the licensee sells through specialty stores. Specialized items, higher demand, higher prices. Of course, the royalty rates are going to be higher. All right. There's also a concept called guarantee royalties. All right, so graduated royalties. All right. I got guarantees on my brain. I'm sorry, the concept called graduated royalties. If you're in my class, you'd be shaking your head right now. There he goes, Professor Romano again, not realizing what's going on. The concept called graduated royalties. This is where royalty rates adjust as licensees reach various milestones. All right, the royalty rates are adjusted if the licensee sells a certain amount of product. Example, for the first number, let's say the first 100,000 units sold, there's an 8% royalty. All right, but then it goes up. The next 100,000, there's a 9% royalty, and up from there. The next 100,000, there's a 10% royalty. All right, so this is the concept of graduated royalties. So if I ask you on the quiz, what's the concept of graduated royalties? You would just put very simply, royalty rates are adjusted as a licensee reaches various milestones. Example being 8% for the first 100,000 of units sold, 9 for the next 100,000 of units sold, and so forth. All right, that would get you the full credit for that question. Graduated royalties are written into the contract. All right, they have to be written into the contract. This is because we don't want confusion on at what threshold they kick in and the amounts. All right, this protects the licensee. All right, this is similar to how the guarantees protect the licensors. The graduated royalties written into the contract protect the licensees because, you know, they have a lesser royalty rate if they don't sell. If the product doesn't sell, if something happens to the brand itself, they're paying a lesser royalty rate for less goods being sold. All right, but as it increases, if the brand is good, if the brand is whole, if the brand is solid, the royalty rates will go up. And this is in there graduated royalties are there to protect the licensee. Okay. There's also a concept in licensing agreement called free goods, and this, all right, some licensed merchandise is royalty exempt. All right. All right, some licensed merchandise is royalty exempt. Samples used in the selling process. All right, samples, those are royalty exempt. Those are given away to the public. Since they're giving away to the public, the licensee is not going to pay royalties on them. Same thing for merchandise distributed in-house. All right, some merchandise you give to your employees, so they wear it, they go out on the streets, people see it, they want to buy it now. So that merchandise, all right, if it's in-house, you give it away, the licensee is not going to pay a royalty on it. All right, so if it's free things, samples used, merchandise, and any product sold to the licensor for the resale. All right, so if there's a buyback from the licensor, it just makes sense that the licensee is not going to pay a royalty on that. All right, because the licensor is getting double dipping there. Okay, so some licensed merchandise is royalty exempt. 3 examples. If I ask you on the quiz, just give me those 3 examples. Okay. There are also other forms of allowable deductions. Royalties based on net sale prices. All right. We talked before that royalties are predominantly based on manufacturer's selling price, less allowable deductions. All right, so this is the net sale price. What you actually pay the licensor is the manufacturer's sale price less allowable deductions. Those being free samples, those being anything that's sold back. So this is actually calculates out to what we call the net sales price. Don't get too hung up on this. Just remember that the royalty rates are usually based on manufacturer selling prices, but there are some allowable deductions, and this is netted out. Okay, that's all you really need to know on that. Don't get too hung up on it. Okay. Some other allowable deductions are cash or volume discounts to retailers, returns. Right, so this is all calculated into the net. Some allowable deductions, cash or volume discounts to retailers, returns, and freight. I mean, some products are returned. Typically, the industry standard is about 10 to. You're going to forecast about 10 to 20% returned. So so if that goes back to the licensor, the licensees are not going to pay a royalty on that. All right, or any discounts that the retailers get. Right, and so there's a discount, there's a promotion, there's a coupon, that kind of thing. That's going to be deducted from the royalty rate or the royalty itself. Okay. In calculating out the royalties, guarantees, and advances, there are advertising adjustments. All right. The licensor typically requires, and we've talked about this before. Licensors typically require licensees to participate financially in the marketing of the property. Right, the licensees have to be on board. All right, and this is beyond the advertising its own product line. All right, so the licensors require the licensees to participate in the marketing above and beyond their own product lines. So licensee contributes to what we call the central marketing fund. All right, so if the licensee contributes to the CMF, the central marketing fund, then total amount contributed to the CMF, usually about 1.5 to 2%, is taken off as an adjustment. Okay? Plus the cost of the licensee's own advertising is adjusted off the royalties, off the guarantees, and off any advances. Okay? So the amount that's calculated, is calculated to be contributed to the CMF, whatever that is, 1.5, 2%. Plus cost of any advertising the good that the licensee, plus cost of the licensing own advertising for that product. That's an adjustment off the royalty. Okay, off the royalty rate. Don't get too bogged down on how does it calculate that. Just realize that it's out there. There's an advertising adjustment that's contributable to royalties. Okay, and that's about 1.5, 2% at the most. All right. There are certain times, I just want you to be aware of this, the royalties apply to the retail price. All right? Not on the manufacturer's sales price. There are certain times when the royalties are based on retail price. This typically happens for books. All right, book publishers. All right, and that's because the author needs to make some money. All right, so there are times when the royalties are based on the retail price, the $25 you spend for the book, or LIM, the $700 you pay for the book. But if the book costs $25, the royalty rate at 5%, 8%, 20%, 10% will be based on that retail price, not the book publishing, not the manufacturer's sale price. Just be aware of that. That'll probably be a true/false question on the quiz. Okay. Royalties are sometimes calculated as flat fees. The licensee pays a flat fee in lieu of a royalty percentage. This can happen. It doesn't happen that often. All right. Example, royalty would be just flat, 75 cents or $1.75 for each unit sold. All right. So it's not based on a percentage. So if the good sells for $20, okay, the licensee makes a profit. But if it sells for $2, they're not going to make a big profit. There's not a lot of margin there. Sometimes, not often though, royalties are based on flat fees. Again, this may be another true or false question. Can licensee pay a flat fee in lieu of a royalty percentage? Yes, they can. Is it done frequently? It's done, it's usually based on a certain amount for each unit sold. Okay? Royalties sometimes are even paid to multiple parties. All right, licensees may pay royalty to more than one party, and this is normally a higher percentage, all right, than a solely owned property, and each licensor's cut is lower than usual. All right, so if a licensee is paying out royalties to multiple parties, one party may pay maybe the NFL and the NFLPA, the Players Association. So royalty rates are being paid out to more than one party. Usually that royalty rate is a little bit higher, so maybe 15, 18%, but each licensee is only getting 6 or 7%, depending on how it's calculated out. Okay, so there are times when there are two licensing agreements for that same product. All right, and then there are royalties going to both parties. Just beware. All right. Examples happens in video game industry. You need to license the trademarks and the hardware itself, the technical stuff. All right, you need to license, if you're going to have an NFL football game, video game, we got to get all those trademarks licensed. And also the equipment, the technology behind making those games work. There needs to be royalties paid to those who design that. Okay, so it can happen. It does happen. It happens frequently, but it's just all in the contract and who's going to get what percentage, and what the license royalty fee is going to be, and who's going to get what percentage. Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. This is the end of this module videos. Please, if you have any questions, call me. There will be no Dropbox question for this video, I've decided. Okay? Take care. Have a good weekend. Have a nice holiday if you're celebrating. Again, any questions, comments, criticisms, please feel free to give me a call. Thank you.